I made this shit last. Burning down to the wake up call, to the sun grows cold, to the making it down. Judgment is what they find, that's so deep out, just to be so judged. I'm cracking your past, you fight one way back and run. It's not on your voice, what's the gun, we run. Someday it's time, don't let me out of time. Gotta see me now, nights all I don't let you go. And I don't like the way you smile upon me. Was I meant to be for you? All I'm screwing up the emptiness you left behind. Had to chemical that's rushing through my bones. 歩いた道の途中で迷子になったの。誰かの騒音だって言われても答え出せない。Hear me out from the unknown. 何度繰り返せよ。Desire to be dead. 見逃してゆく。
In spite of everything I did for her, she kept taking me for granted and showed no mercy in fading me away. But that time has come and gone, now everything we need is in our hands. So draw a line in the sand and repeat after me.
I won't look back to what cannot be changed.
変えられない過去でも
I won't look back to what cannot be changed.
ただ進めば焼き付くなら
I'm treating on thin ice tonight. Feels like I'm hypnotized. There's no getting out. I'm trapped in pouring rain. Our time is running out fast. Somehow I made this shit last. Burning down to the wake up call, to the sun grows cold, to the making it down. Judgment is what they find, that's so deep out, just to be so judged. I'm cracking your past, you fight one way back and run. It's not on your voice, what's the gun, we run. Someday it's time, don't let me out of time. Gotta see me now, nights all I don't let you go. And I don't like the way you smile upon me. Was I meant to be for you? All I'm screwing up the emptiness you left behind. Had to chemical that's rushing through my bones.
歩いた道の途中で迷子になったの。誰かの騒音だって言われても答え出せない。
Hear me out from the unknown.
何度繰り返せよ。
Desire to be dead.
見逃してゆく。
In spite of everything I did for her, she kept taking me for granted and showed no mercy in fading me away. But that time has come and gone, now everything we need is in our hands. So draw a line in the sand and repeat after me.
I won't look back to what cannot be changed.
変えられない過去でも
I won't look back to what cannot be changed.
ただ進めば焼き付くなら
The number you have dialed has been changed. The new number is... Please note. Please note.
Never gonna stop, never gonna change, never gonna do the things you say. I run my own way to get there. Fools are calling and I don't seem to care. In the air, no more crowd, just the opposite kind of few clouds. So tell me this time is coming for the sake of all your lies. Why don't you try to be wise? Now that I need you, why?
man, it's Thursday night, and you know what that means. By now you do. It's party time. We're the Video Bros, and we're on your screen right now. I'm Bobby Munson, and that man right beside me, you may know him. He's the man with the angelic voice, so let me do this correctly. He is Papa Smokes. Papa Smokes, how the hell you doing, sir?
After an intro like that, Munson, I'm doing absolutely great, and I want to give a shout-out to all my wrestling people out there.
Big shout out to everybody who tunes in each and every week. Thank you for all you do for us right here, whether you're tuning in here on our Twitch channels or on YouTube. As you may know, if you're going in via Twitch right now, there is probably some advertisements rocking and rolling because we are in affiliate status. But if you throw us a sub, hey, you're going to bypass those things, and guess what? Guess who's joining us? Speaking of subs here on the channel, it's our good friend Astrid. Hey, she says. And also coming in, one of the cool things about getting in on Summon is you're going to be able to start utilizing some of the emotes like you see right there on your screen. I'm speed, kind of rolling through the punches here, Papa Smokes, before we really get going with things here today, because we do have a few advertisements that are just running as we are now affiliate. I want to make sure that our friends that are staying tuned through the advertisements get to join us for the MLW talk. But we got to give a shout out to our boy Ryan Baster69 joining us there. Speaking about those emotes, using that kick-ass Video Bros emote as well too. Thanks for joining us in the chat here, and we are just nearing the end of that little advertisement break. About every 30 minutes, you guys, just as a heads up, advertisements will take place here on Twitch, but if you hit subscribe, throw us a sub, you'll be able to bypass those things. And thank you to everybody who has subbed, followed, and done all those wonderful things on Twitch. Make sure you're following along, subscribed on our YouTube channel at the Video Bros Network. And I want to give a big shout out to our sponsors. It is the Rogue Affiliate sponsorship. As you see in the corner of your screen, that QR code beside Mr. Papa Smokes. That's the way you're going to get over to our good friends over at Rogue Energy if you're looking for any alternative to the energy drinks you find in the store. I'm talking about something with low sugar count, no calories, vegan friendly. I'm talking about this is the way to go, and you can now get them in cans, not just the powdered version of Rogue Energy, but you can get pre-made cans of Rogue Energy delivered right to your house. This is the best energy drink on your market. You can use that QR code, or again, right below us on the ticker, you'll see rogueenergy.com, where you can use the promo code OLEPODS for 10% off your order. Papa Smokes, nothing but kick-ass reviews from everybody who's ordered the Rogue Energy so far.
Hey, sounds good to me, Munson. I've tried the red one. I like the red one.
Yeah, sounds good, sounds good. And we got Bellball joining us, Bellball Collins, gentlemen, with a whole bunch of hearts. Thanks for joining us here tonight. Great that you could join us for another edition of Fusion here on Thursday nights. And, of course, every single week, hello, Auntie Woogie. Thank you for joining us as well. Glad you're able to join us. Thanks for the love and support, everyone. And, hey, man, we're finally back with live MLW action, or I guess pre-taped MLW, but live to us, Papa Smokes, because we're watching on Pro Wrestling TV. This is the official season premiere of MLW Fusion that we got here tonight. We got the tease, the kickoff, the Battle Riot from last week, and they did a whole lot of recapping of what went down at the Battle Riot throughout this entire episode.
Absolutely, and this is the time when you get to see the Video Bros really pumped up, because finally, after all the waiting, the weeks and months of speculation as to when we would get back with this, we are back. We got the Battle Riot last week, and now the first episode of Fusion. I'm pumped. We're back in the MLW.
That's right. It's time to talk some wrestling, Papa Smokes. So we got 4 matches. I'm going to say 4. We'll talk about why I kind of have a little bit of a hesitancy on the number there, but we'll get to that. This was a jam-packed episode of MLW Fusion to kick the season off. And again, we're back with our original announced team that kicked off last season. They called the Battle Riot. We're talking about Dabrowski, and also you're going to have to help me out here because Papa Smokes, I'm like 9 beers into my day, so I don't think I'm going to be able to think it. Bocchini! It's
Rich
Bocchini.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. All right, I'm still going to make it like I'm not completely hammered at this point in the evening already. So we're going to go right into this whole thing. And what we got right off the start here, Pop, so yeah, cheers to that, right? We got the Samoan SWAT team showing up to the arena. Juicy looked in fine form, didn't he? He had that no shirt, basketball shorts look going for him as they showed up at the arena here tonight.
Juicy's always looking cool, as is the whole Samoan SWAT team. And Man, I really like these segments that they're doing with the guys where they're just kind of hanging out outside of the ring, talking some trash, talking some comedy and stuff. I get a kick out of these guys. This is good stuff.
Yeah, and you know what? This one did get a little bit more funny too, because as they tried to get inside the arena, standing at the door was one of the Azteca henchmen hired by Cesar Duran to assure people like the Samoan SWAT team don't get special privileges walking throughout the arena in MLW. Henchmen standing there, and we know that these three boys can handle this on their own, no problem at all. There is 1 versus 3, but in the end, it was a lot more interesting because we got an out of nowhere nut punch from Microman that you didn't see on camera, but suddenly the henchman goes down. There's Microman, and he's made new friends in the Samoan SWAT team. And this is going to become a regular theme, the whole groin shot episode of MLW Fusion here tonight, we could call it.
Yeah, there were a few of them, and it started off with this one, but a good start to the show. A little laugh for everybody, just a little intro. Even the way the guys were walking into the building, it was like, we're back.
Yeah, this had a nice feel to it. I really enjoyed it. I had some fun with it. This, again, we talked about previously in the other season, ways you can use Microman without continuing these 3 versus 3 matchups. And again, a little bit of comic relief in some of these segments that they are using him in. It's not too harmful. You know, Microman does have a comical touch, and he's really connected with the MLW faithful. So I see the way they're utilizing him, especially in this particular episode, being more beneficial to Microman and to the company.
I think so too. And I mean, the Microman match is kind of a thing to behold the first time at least. I'm not sure about future times after that. I'm not sure if I buy it completely, but as a comic figure, and they seem to be using him in the furtherance of the whole Cesar Duran storyline, I can see this, and the fans like him, so I say use him.
Yeah, exactly. So we got right down to action just after this, and they kicked off in a big way. We're talking about a championship matchup right off the hop in the season premiere. The middleweight championship was on the line in a 4-way matchup. We had Lindsay Dorado taking on La Estrella. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Coming in from Dragon Gate. Ares, who we saw quite a bit of in the last season of MLW. And then, of course, the young GOAT, now with the Beaumaye Fight Club. Beaumaye. So the young GOAT going to be defending his title in this one. Again, we've said it before, how much we would love to see more Myron Reed one-on-one action. This one, though, not bad. We got to see a little bit more, especially, I'll say it, La Estrella. We got to see a few things from him. At first, I was a little cold on him. I think as this match rolled on, I saw a few more things that I thought were a little sharper from this guy and everything. Doesn't very well stand out when you've got two guys wearing the exact same outfit in the exact same matchup together. And at one point, commentary actually made that comment. You're not seeing double here. One of those two men is Lindsay Dorado, and the other one, La Estrella from Dragon Gate. And it's very detrimental, I find, when you have to make that reference inside the match as a commentator to allow people to understand these are not mirror image wrestlers that you're seeing right now.
Yeah, and that's just it. And like we were saying before, it's what are the chances that both of them said, hey, I'm going to wear my turquoise outfit today, and then actually both did, you know, like I'm not sure what happened. I think that agents in wrestling companies are there to avoid that kind of stuff. And I would think the boys even know that after being trained, that you don't wrestle a match in the same trunks as the other guy. But I don't know what's going on here. But I also had a hard time telling them apart because I've seen Lindsay Dorado maybe a couple of his matches before. But now when he's in there against La Estrella, they have almost the same trunks and a very, very similar style. So, I mean, this was something that could have been avoided, but, you know, it still wasn't bad for a 4-man lucha match, which sometimes can be a little bit difficult to swallow.
Yeah, they can be, but this one not so bad. There was a few really nice spots in particular. Again, we just about saw a double hurricanrana where Reed got on top of both La Estrella and Lindsay Dorado at the same time, but they managed to block it, turning that into a buckle bomb. I thought that was a nice touch in this one.
Yeah, really nice. And one of the other spots I wanted to point out was, I believe it was La Estrella that did that pretty much a literal tope suicida to the outside. Good God, man. The momentum he got on that run. He didn't touch any of the ropes. He didn't get slowed down one bit, and he hit Myron Reed, I think, as Reed was standing with his back to the crowd barrier, so that Estrella went right over the top and into the crowd. I mean, good God, those first 3 rows were pretty much wiped out by him.
Now, the only thing that could have made that even better is if the MLW faithful would have been prepared for this and started crowd surfing him around the arena and back onto the floor. I think we could have had some fun with that one.
Yeah, that's a good thought. He pretty much could have, based on his momentum alone.
Yeah. But again, Myron Reed managing to look sharp as always in this one. A good victory for the Beaumaye Fight Club. That was a nice touch with the double stunner off that he gave to both Lindsay and to La Estrella. The other guy's not looking bad in defeat. Again, Ares not involved in the actual pinfall. So, again, allowing him to look strong in this thing because, again, he was a standout we saw from last season that we obviously want to see more of. They call him the King of Strange style. And we want to see more of that strange style in this MLW Fusion season. But yeah, big win for Myron Reed and a promo that followed afterwards with the Beaumaye Fight Club at the top of the ramp. And Myron just laying it down about why he is the best middleweight that there is around. He's one of the best in MLW.
No question about that. I feel like a broken record for years now on this podcast saying Myron Reed's one of the more talented grapplers in this company. And his stuff is all perfect. Like every time, all those double moves that he was doing in this multi-man match, all looked completely perfect. And he's so technically excellent. His fundamentals are so strong from the bottom up that all of his shit looks perfect every single time. So, I mean, and then the promo afterwards, I mean, with our boys, Alex Kane and Mr. Thomas. Can I call them our boys now? I feel like I know those guys.
We're going to say it anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. Those are our interview guys. Just excellent promo and that faction coming across looking extremely strong in this first episode.
Yeah, it was a nice touch. Beautiful way to bring back the Beaumaye Fight Club into the whole thing. Good way to start the night off. It got the excitement going, so everybody's pumped, ready to see what comes up next. But up next, short little video, Willie Mack coming to MLW. I know we briefly talked about this because there was the plugs throughout the summer, but Willie Mack, we're going to be seeing him very soon on MLW television, on Fusion coming up. Willie Mack, your thoughts, Papa Smokes?
I'm excited about this because I think Willie Mack has been a top guy in other independent companies, like larger ones such as Impact and NWA. He's a former NWA champion and all that stuff. So I think Willie Mack has the swag to be a top guy in MLW. You could insert him into maybe the World Championship picture, or at the very least the Openweight Championship. But I think Mack could be a top guy and get into that World Championship picture.
And again, he brings eyes to the product that might not currently be on it. At the same time, he brings a lot of experience to the MLW guys that are there. A lot of these young guys that are looking to make a name for themselves, he can be able to teach them the right ways to go about it, to rise to that next level. And that's the excitement with MLW, is we get to see the rise happening as all these great current veterans of in-ring action are teaching the young up-and-comers, the next generation of professional wrestling.
Yeah, that's the other part. Not only can you get some big matches and some eyeballs upon your product, but some of these veterans can be invaluable in the dressing room when you have younger talent in there. I could go on and on of all the young talent that's in MLW, but it just can be a locker room leader and a trainer and an advice giver. That can be one of the most valuable guys in your company.
Yeah, you bet it can be. So moving on from there, this was an odd video package after this one. And not that it was completely bad, but there was some odd stuff going on with some of the acting within this one. I'm not sure what to make of it. This was the one with Cesar Duran outside on a telephone, talking to someone. It sounds like, again, making some sort of deal, something that he has to pass by Court Bauer. Maybe somebody's going to be making a debut soon. You know, kind of funny that it plays right after the Willie Mack thing, so might tie into something of that, might be completely separated from it. We'll have to wait and see. Hangs up the phone. In comes Richard Holiday and Alicia too, and I'm thinking, perfect. This is going to be a good Holiday, fantastic speaker. We know we like his in-ring work. We know where this is going. And I liked most of this, Holiday saying that, you owe me. I've gone out there. I've saved your ass once again from Hammerstone. I bloodied the hell out of him once again. I was within, a couple of more moves away from becoming the new MLW World Heavyweight Champion. I want my opportunity. I want that rematch. And again, they could have ended it with what Cesar did, making a rematch within 2 weeks for the MLW World Heavyweight Championship in a Falls Count Anywhere match. But then Cesar... was he drunk or high or both, or what the fuck was going on, Papa Smokes? Because he starts dancing and singing. I'm thinking I'm in the middle of a Disney fucking musical all of a sudden.
Yeah, and he always has that tendency. He's kind of an thespian or an actor, and he likes to enunciate everything. And then now he's just spontaneously breaking out in song, and I get it. They were kind of hyping the whole New York thing, so he starts singing New York, New York. And if you can beat him here, you can beat him anywhere. And now Richard Holiday is joining in, and now we've got this kind of bizarre, wavering, drunken kind of sounding song. I don't know what the guys are thinking. I like to think that they're just having fun and being wacky and being themselves. That's the best case scenario here with some of these bizarre skits that they put on. But I'm going to chalk it up to just the boys having some fun.
Yeah, pretty much. You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of a good night out at the karaoke bar, and you just get to that point with one of your buddies at the end of the night. You got a couple of suds in hand, and you horribly built out some vocals because why the hell not? That's what happened, though. But in 2 weeks, the big news to come out of that whole thing is the rematch, the Dynasty, one-on-one, Hammerstone and Holiday, the championship on the line. Falls Count Anywhere this time around. Anything can and will happen. Do we believe, Papa Smokes? I mean, I believe this could be the end of the line for Alexander Hammerstone's reign. Holiday was very, very close the last time out at the end of last season. I see bad things in line for Hammerstone walking into this one. It doesn't seem like he has a friend of the world to have his back this time.
Yeah, you could be completely right about that. And don't forget of Holiday's attack on Hammerstone at the Battle Riot, injuring Hammerstone's ribs, which we would get a medical report during this episode that said that he's got a fracture of ligaments in his ribs or something like that. So which they said was going to be an injury lasting a couple of months. Yeah. So Hammerstone's coming out for this match in 2 weeks with the taped up ribs, and you know what that can mean for a champion in a championship match. I don't know, but we know that Richard Holiday was more than game competition for Hammerstone last time. And if he gets him in a weakened state this time, oh yeah, anything's possible.
We could see a new champion crown. That is only 2 weeks away. So again, something to be very, very excited about with the MLW. Something that I'm going to mention right now, we're going to talk about this before we go into the next match, because we kind of really, it started to show, but it was around this point when they switched from segments to this matchup. There was something off with the editing of this whole show for some reason. I know you mentioned it, Papa Smokes, and I was feeling it too. It almost felt like there was a disconnect between transitioning from some of the segments that were going on backstage to going back out to the ring. Whether it's like that they're just trying to do their best with what they've got currently and they don't have enough people in line. Again, Court, give me a call, dude. I applied. I got your back, man. But yeah, I'm looking at this thing thinking like it seems to be a little bit something odd about this episode and the way it was pieced together.
Well, that's the first thing I thought when I started noticing some of those rough cuts, and sometimes just that last sentence that the commentator would say would kind of get cut off and then abruptly put into the next segment. I was thinking, boy, old Money Munson wouldn't allow that to happen on one of his programs. So, Court, yeah, you better use the numbers there.
Don't worry, Court. I'll stay sober when I'm doing MLW stuff. I promise. But Yes, it just there was something off about it, a little bit odd, but again, it's a free program. This is splitting hairs. We're not trying to crap on it. It's
No.
definitely something fell off, so I thought it was worth bringing up, something to talk about. Next, we went into one-on-one middleweight matchup, which almost felt like this placement. I guess I understand why it came second, but we went from middleweight to middleweight. I think we could have maybe broken that up, maybe had the women's match second or some sort of different order to this one. I guess just my thoughts on it, just to break up the division a little bit. But
or put the championship match after the preliminary match. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that would have made more sense. But again, as we've talked about before, trying to piece together some of our local shows that we do on YouTube, it's sometimes tough.
Yeah, and at the same time, you can imagine when they're airing this on Pro Wrestling TV, the mindset has to be coming in strong with that four-way matchup. You're going to see a lot of quickness, a lot of brightness going on. It might be eye-catching, so somebody who just happens to be flipping at the top of the hour catches that out of the corner. They're like, shit, I'm going to turn this on, keep it on. So I imagine that was the thought process behind it. But again, as a fan, it feels a little disjointed that this match ended up where it was on the card. So we got Casey Navarro versus Mini Abismo Negro. Not a lot I can say about the matchup itself. It was fine. These guys laid their stuff in really nicely, but again, this also feels disconnected because here's the problem with it. We know from what's been put out in the news articles that Casey Navarro was not awarded a renewal of his contract. So this was either the final match or we're going to be seeing the final match coming up here soon. So the victory that he picks up here feels like it doesn't have that effect because there is no direction that Casey Navarro is going further with MLW, at least until, maybe he reestablishes himself on the independent scene before making a comeback down the road. But yeah, it was an okay match. It was nothing to write home about.
Yeah, they gave him 5 minutes or so. It was kind of a typical middleweight match. Both guys have some good stuff. I've sung the praises of Casey Navarro before. He's very small. He's very young, but he's good. He's got some slick moves and he's got a lot of potential. I almost look at him like a slightly younger Sammy Guevara type thing. Like he has some potential and he's got a look and all that stuff too. But that again comes the problem with having a show like MLW Fusion that's from tape that's already in the can, because then the current happenings come out and then you still have to use this tape that you already have, and that's the nature of the business, right? We also know about this from Prairie Pro Wrestling is sometimes there are slight problems with continuity when you have to tape stuff and then release it and commentate over it later. It's not a perfect science, but you do the best you can.
Yeah, try calling a championship Prairie Pro Wrestling match when you already know the outcome of it this many months later, as Papa Smokes and I learned earlier this evening. Speaking of Prairie Pro Wrestling, just a quick plug, December 10th, live in Saskatoon. You're going to be able to catch live action from Prairie Pro Wrestling. It is going to be our December show, wrapping up the year in style. You're not going to want to miss it. There's going to be a lot of great things. And speaking of that championship belt, Papa Smoke, I'm sure the longest reigning Prairie Pro Wrestling champion in history, Sheik Akbar Shabazz, most likely going to be there on that night.
Oh, undoubtedly. And a fighting champion, too. He hasn't taken any of the shows off for defending the title. He's already starting to work his way through the PPW roster. And my only question is, who's going to be able to get it done against the Big Sheik?
Yeah. And there we go. Auntie Wuji mentioning, yay, PPW, you bet. We gotta talk PPW. We gotta get another episode of the Bro Show going here, Papa Smokes, one of these days here soon. We're gonna have to get one of the boys on the show, have a little conversation. I think it's time to release another episode of the Bro Show coming up here very soon. And again, you can catch PPW matches each and every Saturday on Prairie Pro Wrestling's YouTube channel with myself and Papa Smokes as your commentary team. But again, nothing beats live pro wrestling action. So if you're in Saskatoon, make sure to come check us out. And why not come have a beer with myself and Papa Smokes? Because if you haven't caught on already, we like to party and we like to party hard. So back to MLW though, Papa Smokes.
Lost sound on you, Munson.
Okay, I think we're good again. Sorry about
Okay.
technical difficulties. That's the problem with a live show sometimes. But yeah, I was just saying, speaking about party time, we went to a backstage segment on MLW, backstage at a bar setting that is for Mance Warner. Mance joined by a bunch of friends back there looking like they're having a good old time. And right away, I got thinking to myself, man, when is it going to be that they're going to add Bud Heavy to the mix with Mance Warner? Whether a guy that's at his side learning from him, or maybe even just getting in there and mixing it up with him. I think our good friend Bud Heavy would fit perfectly into Mance's getup.
Oh, absolutely. And if we know anything about Mance Warner, is he loves those light beers. He drinks a lot of those light beers, and we know that about Bud Heavy as well. This is a match made in heaven.
It really is. The man seemed like he was having a good time. It reintroducing himself. He was asked. I got to start learning the backstage commentator's name. Did you catch her name, Pop Smokes?
It's Sam Laterna, isn't it?
There we go. Sam Laterna.
Yeah.
My apologies. I will remember that going forward. But Sam Laterna asking Mance Warner the question, where have you been for the last couple of years? We haven't seen you in a while. But I'm thinking back to myself. No, he didn't. He just wasn't back at all. There was he had to leave MLW matches or anything like that. Was there, Pop Smokes?
I don't think so. I remember when he left, but I don't think he was barred from there or anything.
Okay, sounds good. So yeah, ask him where he's been, and he starts throwing out the questions. You been to Canada?
Yeah.
Of course, Sam, I've been there once. Yeah, well, what'd you do there? Well, I rode some bulls up there in Calgary. It's like, oh, okay. And then he starts going on about what he was doing up here with fighting.
There we go. That's got to be it, right?
Yeah.
Oh. Are we hearing me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Sorry, I think, are we back yet?
Yeah, I can hear you, Bob.
All right. Sorry about that, everybody. Again, loose cable. We'll try to keep away from it so that we can get through the rest of this without any technical difficulties going on. But yeah, again, Matt's mentioning what have you done in Canada? Sounds like he might have been fighting a bear out here, is what he was getting at. Then he was saying, have you been to Mexico? Well, he was down in Mexico for a while as well, too. So it sounds like that's where he's been the last couple of years, is racing our great country here in Canada and also Mexico as well, too, learning his trade elsewhere outside of the U.S.
Yeah, well, I've seen, like I remembered Mance from when he was in MLW the last time. So I've noticed when he's been doing independent bookings, most of the ones I saw throughout the U.S. But yeah, he's been busy the whole time, being the Southern psychopath for sure.
Yeah, you bet. So he cuts a promo on Mods Kruger of all people. You come back to MLW, the first thing you're going to do, you're going to step to Mods. And he said he doesn't care. He knows he's a big boy. He says he's a big man. He said he doesn't have to care if he has to grab a chair, grab a ladder, something of this sort, just to stand up and get right in the face of Mods Kruger and start beating the hell out of him. This was a nice touch on the promo side of it. Again, basically giving that idea that, yeah, I like fighting monsters. I have no issue fighting a monster. And Mods Kruger is the biggest monster here right now. Let's go for it. And yeah, Mance Warner fired right up. Your thoughts on Mods Kruger versus Mance Warner coming up here soon, Papa Smokes?
Yeah, it's a bit of a bizarre matchup. And I mean, when you can imagine Mance coming out to do this promo where it's just like, I've got to sell it that I actually want to fight this guy. That's a tough one, man. But he made it happen. And yeah, it's kind of unusual why you would pick Mods Kruger of all people to be your dance partner without something happening to help that along. But okay, sure, I'm down with it. And you know, nobody ever said Mance made good decisions in his life. So yeah, let's go for it. I'm all down with this. But when they have their matches eventually, like they'll have to be having gimmick matches and stuff, because these two guys will rip it right up and be doing some insanely violent stuff to each other.
Yeah, I can't wait to see that one go down. I can't wait to see what Mods Kruger's response to Mance Warner is going to be as well, too. Hopefully we'll get to see that possibly next week on MLW Fusion. Up next was a promo that was put into the show. This was also released on the YouTube channel that we would have both got to check out earlier in the day. This was the promo from Real One, Enzo Amore, who's going to be in the main event taking on Jacob Fatu. Damn, Papa Smokes. He hasn't cut a lot of these since coming to MLW, but when he does, he drops bombs, and he dropped bombs in this here promo. He called out the lineage that Fatu comes from, basically scuffling through names, but really kind of giving them poor names at the same time. They was talking about how even Fatu himself is nothing more than a poor man's Rikishi.
Yeah, I mean, wow, this was quite the promo. Almost 2 minutes long, didn't stop, didn't make a mistake once, didn't pause, had his rhymes, had his allusions, had his little stories, had his similes. Everything was right together and right perfect with this promo. Like Real One or not, you have to give him props. He's very, very good at this. And this promo was scathing. It was it was timeful. It was completely focused on Jacob Fatu, the insulting of his lineage and everything. When that's such a holy topic in wrestling right now, with the whole bloodline and all that stuff about all the respect and everything, and then he's just crapping all over it like Real One would do. And it was a thing where you just thought, if Jacob hears this, he's going to attack him immediately. And just like Enzo said, it's on site when I see you. And as we later would find out tonight, it was on site.
Yeah, we'd be coming up to that very, very shortly here. But before that, a few more things to unfold. We go backstage, and we couldn't tell who it was at first, but our man, Bud Heavy, involved in a segment.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, he's had the shit kicked out of him before we could have any fun with him on TV. So they find Bud Heavy's body inside a closet backstage. Savio Vega coming across this and screaming out for help. Bud Heavy looks like he got messed up something bad, Papa Smokes.
Well, that's just what I was wondering. Did he get beaten up, or was he just sleeping it off kind of thing too? But I guess we're supposed to assume that perhaps he's been jumped. But awesome. I hope that Bud's okay, but I'm even happier if he's going to be involved in some kind of an angle on Fusion. This is great news. I'm happy for another one of our brothers, Bud Heavy.
Yeah, me too. Anytime we see him on TV, whatever the capacity, it just pumps us up again. You already get an A+ from the Video Bros because it's Bud fucking Heavy. Moving on from there, we had Fatu in a segment talking backstage with Microman. And again, this continued on from the first segment with him, and it didn't get too goofy. This was kind of funny. But earlier in the night, Cesar Duran had sent one of its henchmen out with a chain in hand and said, "Take care of Micromania once and for all. I want him wiped out." Fatu having a conversation with Microman. They're having a bite to eat. I'm not quite sure what it was they were popping out of the box there, but Microman sharing along with Fatu, and they're just having a good kind of a bro session, more or less. Fatu scurries off, takes away. Microman's left by himself. In comes the henchman. I like the shot that they did here, the video shot with the henchman just comes in with that chain. Microman just kind of nods his head over, like, you don't know if he can't quite tell if he's just looking at this going, "Oh shit, I'm in trouble," or what's going on. But the henchman starts slowly walking towards Microman when all of a sudden, boom, Jacob Fatu. "Oh, I forgot to tell you, I got one more thing," comes in, notices the henchman right away, and gives this henchman shit. He tells him, "You better not be thinking of taking my boy here out right now. You know better than that." Boom, that chain gets dropped. Henchman's gone. I like this scene. This was fun.
Yeah, and now the henchman has to go back to Cesar Duran when he's failed in his mission too. So the story goes on. We'll see what happens, but yeah, they're still Duran's still angry with Microman over when Microman was hiding in his office and overheard a bunch of those phone calls and saw some of those sensitive documents as well. I think that talk about long-term storytelling months, and that was like a year and a half ago.
Yeah, seems like forever ago for sure. But yeah, I like this bit. It was nicely done. Again, Fatu, he's so good at what he does that even when it comes to the comical side, he nails it with perfection. It doesn't become insulting. It's just good and entertaining. This is the way entertainment in wrestling is supposed to be done, and Fatu hits it on the head every single time.
Yeah, I completely agree with that, and I like Fatu so much, and I think the reason I like him is the same reason that the crowds and the fans are liking him, is because he's real, and you can see that he's a cool guy, and he's being himself, and he's letting us see a little bit of himself, and I think that's why the fans take to him, and I think that's why I like him. In the sort of post-Contra era, Fatu has been doing that. We saw the little personality profile where he talked about his life being a bad boy on the streets of Oakland for some years and all that kind of stuff. And it just does that. It introduces you to the wrestler a little bit. You get to know a bit about them, and then you get to bond with them. And I think that's what's happening with Fatu. The fans have always thought he was a kick-ass heel, but now he's getting over because they like who he is, just a real person.
He's that street tough ooses. He made it very clear in that video that you're speaking about. And again, I like this side of him. He hasn't changed a whole lot from that heel attitude. He is still that ass kicker. He is still angry, pissed off. He is going to cuss inside that ring. But now he's kind of the cool one doing it. He's doing it to the guys that everybody wants to see get their asses handed to him. And man, I can guarantee you the MLW faithful are going to be looking forward to watching that happen to one real one here at the end of the night. We're going to get to that very shortly, though. Before that, the third matchup of the night, we're going to get to see the MLW featherweight division on hand. Two debuts happening. We got Clara Carrera making her MLW debut, taking on Scarlett Bordeaux. And again, we did not know what to expect from this one, Papa Smokes. Again, we had never seen Clara Carrera. At least I haven't. I'm not sure about yourself. And again, Scarlett Bordeaux, it's been limited to seeing her as a valet to Killer Cross, Karrion Kross. I didn't know much about her wrestling outside of this. I was thinking, okay, what do you do with this one? Especially, did they know that this was going to be one of the only times they were going to get Scarlett in here? Do they start to make a push with her and the idea that she might go for the championship? So how much were they aware of? Clearly weren't quite aware of the entire dealing at this point in time when these tapings took place. But man, Scarlett, a better wrestler inside that ring than I think I was about to give her credit for. So the Smoke Show comes out and gives us quite a showing inside the squared circle here against Clara.
Yeah, this was pretty okay. That Clara Carreras looked cool, liked her look. She's quite small, but she had some spirit to her. Scarlett Bordeaux, very excellent looking lady. I can see the appeal on that side of it. I wasn't sure how her match was going to go, but I agree. It looks like she's got a good sense of working in the ring, not just doing strings of meaningless moves, but actually working her opponent and thereby working the crowd as well. And she looks like she's got a bunch of training under her belt, and this was a pretty okay 4-minute match, and putting over Scarlett Bordeaux as one of the new featherweights in this division. Once again, I'd like them to get this division going. I realize it's not easy with maybe the lack of talent out there and just in the numbers and stuff, but I'd love it if they could get it going. We haven't seen Holodead for a long time, but we've still got Taya Valkyrie as the champion, and then let's get some contenders going. If Scarlett Bordeaux is one of those, let's do it.
Yeah, again, that was the point of topic when they called out Taya Valkyrie to the top of the ramp to give an interview. And first of all, that MLW Featherweight Championship is one awesome-looking title belt. They really did a nice job with that thing. So Taya comes out to the ramp with it, and it gets in their thoughts on Scarlett. Again, it was brought up. She plays to the crowd, talks about Scarlett being a great competitor and how she brings eyes to the product, which is beneficial to the entire division. And again, if that's the person that needs to step up and go for the title, Taya's ready to take on anybody. And as she says that, out of nowhere, someone who we've seen once, I believe, in this division so far. Again, somebody that was announced to be a big part of this division, but we've only seen in that one really kind of, it didn't amount to much matchup. Brittany Blake making a very aggressive attack on the champion Taya Valkyrie, potentially looking to set up a championship matchup for herself, was be what I'm guessing from this, Papa Smokes.
Well, sure, and I'm all for it then too, because now you've got two good lady wrestlers that just had a match. Now you've got the champion out on the ramp having an interview, and now you've got Blake coming out and attacking her. So there's 4 members of your talent roster right there involved and on TV. That's good. It wasn't just a match with 2. You got the other 2 involved to get some interest going in this. And Blake is obviously going to be the dirty heel and come out with the back jumping attack and all that. And yeah, the fans aren't going to like that one bit, because Taya Valkyrie's a real nice babyface champion. Yeah, I liked her promo, by the way. It was very off the cuff, and she was just feeling the crowd and enjoying the crowd. And again, that gets over with people, and therefore making Blake's attack all the more dastardly. So good. Let's do it. Let's get some angles going and some more matches, and we'll get this featherweight division off the ground.
You bet. So, yeah, that's something to be excited about right there. Up next, we had, again, one of these parts that felt like there was something odd with the editing of this whole thing, because we had the commentators coming in talking about what went down at the Battle Riot last week after Davey Richards had been eliminated from the match and then attacked by the Beaumaye Fight Club at the top of the ramp. And it started with our commentary team doing voiceovers over top of this, explaining what happened. And then suddenly the audio track from the Battle Riot matchup itself kicks in, and I'm hearing feedback of what's going on for the activity inside the Battle Riot while watching a recap from last week that originally started with the commentary team. This was odd. This portion of it was odd.
Yeah, this threw me a little bit. I wasn't sure what was going on, but again, if they're on a new channel, so to speak, on a new network app and all that stuff, then it's the first show. I'll just let it slide, and but those guys need to tighten that stuff up, and they should hire Money Munson to do it.
Hopefully that happens. Give me a call. You know where to find me, Court. I messaged you, man. But yeah, so that definitely needs to be tightened up. But what doesn't need to be tightened up is the on-screen appearances by the Beaumaye Fight Club. Again, Alex Kane, Myron Reed in a promo thing. It starts off where I believe we see Myron Reed standing there, and the image of just the top of Kane's head as he seems to be stomping something. And again, what he's doing, mimicking the beatdown that he gave Davey Richards after the elimination from the Battle Riot just last week. And that's where it starts. And then it goes into a promo where Alex Kane lays it down about why Richards is old news. This is someone he used to look up to, someone he admired, but Davey's let himself down in the eyes of Alex Kane. And Alex Kane is ready to topple over one of the best in the industry, somebody who he has total admiration for, but somebody who he needs to knock out in order to not only retain his championship, but basically to prove that he can hang and go the distance with some of the legends in that still walk the ring today.
And isn't this the perfect kind of storyline to have, is just that two guys want to compete with each other at the very top level, and they want to fight each other over a belt because they want the best competition, and each of them sees each other as the best competition. That's all you need for a story in professional wrestling. That used to be the storyline for 90% of all the matches that ever happened, and that was enough for the fans. Of course, we've seen it branch out into much more flowery storytelling than that over the past number of years, but I still like this. This is still classic. Hey, you're really good, but I think I can beat you. Oh yeah, you'd never beat me. Okay, let's have a match. That's all you need. If the workers can deliver their promos with some integrity and some fire, and then have a match that's fired up as well, this is good. There's a winning combination or a winning formula every single time.
Yeah, and then again, after that, we would find out that leads to next week's matchup. Again, if they haven't thrown enough big at us already with a world championship matchup in 2 weeks, next week, one-on-one. It is the leader of the Beaumaye Fight Club, Mr. Alex Kane, the suplex assassin himself, defending that National Openweight Championship against Davey Richards. I just rewatched their first matchup here tonight, Papa Smokes, before we started doing our work. Man, that was good. And damn if I'm not excited to see this second one. We know that even Alex Kane said this is a really, really good matchup that the two of them had. Unfortunately, I know even you know the outcome of it. We do know the result of it, but it's not going to hold us back from our enjoyment of watching two great professionals lock up in that squared circle for a coveted championship belt.
For sure. And these are both shoot wrestlers, too, that have already risen to certain greatness in amateur wrestling and other kinds of shoot fighting as well. So there's that little angle to it as well, that there is real competition brewing between these two guys. They've already had one absolutely excellent match in the past, so it only promises more for the future for this next one. I'm totally excited for it. We asked Alex when we interviewed him how many suplexes he actually has, and he's not sure. I think we might get the limits of that tested against Davey Richards.
Didn't he say he's up to like 1,003 or something along those lines?
Yeah.
It's an insane number that he provided to us. But again, I got to say, going into this one, Papa Smokes, I don't like to pull favorites. And normally we're supposed to not like Alex Kane because he's a bad, nasty man in MLW TV. But he sure wasn't a bad, nasty man that you can go check out on the recap that we had in our interview with him. And as a result of that interview, I don't care how nasty he gets or what kind of dirty tricks he might have up his sleeve. I'm looking for Alex Kane to pull a victory, get that big W over Davey Richards in that matchup next week.
Yeah, he's a professional all the way, and he showed that in his interview with us too. And he knows that we're not a couple of jabronis out there like some of those fans in the 2300 arena, so he could sit down and have an actual conversation with us. And the man's professional all the way, a nice guy, a good guy, and I personally like him. I'm calling him my bro now.
That's right. He gets a bad rep from some of those people. I mean, he might be aggressive, but he's looking for championship gold, and anybody would do what it takes, not only to get the championship gold, to be able to get that paycheck at the end of the night. Speaking of a man who's chasing that championship gold, and he's got a little bit of a hurdle on his way in the main event, we go back to a promo from Jacob Fatu, the winner of last week's Battle Riot, and he's cutting a promo on a real one. He is not happy. He is one pissed off Samoan Werewolf looking to go and throw down big time with Real One in this main event here tonight.
And that's just scary. A Samoan Werewolf that's pissed off. That's even more scary. So, yeah, Jacob Fatu, like we were just talking about, he can talk. He sounds real. He sounds like he's from the streets. And it's intimidating, too, the way he talks. He doesn't give a good goddamn what anybody thinks about him. And he's had that bottle smashed over the back of his head by Real One, as well as several other attacks from behind and all that kind of thing, too. And he's tired of it. And you know that Jacob Fatu wants to get his hands on Real One in the ring.
Yeah, and that was the gist of the promo. He even said, you suckered me with that bottle shot to the back of the head. You suckered me in the Battle Riot as much as you could. Everything about you has been a sucker punch. There's no hiding anymore. You're going to face me one-on-one, and at this opportunity, I'm going to tear you apart. And again, I'm fearing for a Real One at this point in time. He sounds ready, but is he ready to face the former world heavyweight champion of MLW, probably one of the most devastating world heavyweight champions in MLW history?
Yeah, and after that scathing promo that he delivered already, too, you're going to have one pissed off Samoan Werewolf.
You certainly are. And Papa Smokes, we are going to be talking about that one in just a short minute. We got that match coming up. We're going to break it down for you. But I want to play you guys a quick little teaser trailer from another show that I do with a good friend of mine. He is Carl Carafel. You can check him out over at Turnbuckle Studios. We have a show called Beats and Beatdowns. Season 2 is going to be dropping soon. And here's what you can expect from Season 2 of Beats and Beatdowns.
Trendsetters, the school of hard knocks and that attitude era. Yeah, I just wanted to be
cool part about that one, Papa Smokes, is we are going to be having Beats and Beatdown Season 2, not only on our local establishment, but also on Turnbuckle Studios. And now, for the first time ever, we're also going to be having it on the Video Bros Network. Our channel over there also going to be host to Season 2 of Beats and Beatdowns. Damn, I'm excited for Season 2 coming out.
Hell yeah, that's awesome. I had a great time listening to Season 1. You and Carl break it down like a couple of masters, and there's a lot more letters in the alphabet left for you guys to get through, so I'm looking forward to each and every one.
You bet. It's going to be a fun time. Be able to check that out very, very shortly on the various channels that we mentioned here. So go and follow them, sub to them, whatever you need to do to watch Season 2 Beats and Beatdowns. But it's time to get to that time of the night, Pop Smokes. Every Thursday we got to get here. And when it happens on a show like this, when it's brand new, I'm geared up and I'm ready to give you a top dollar one. Here it is. It's time for the main event to the evening. This match is scheduled for one fall.
One fall.
There we go. We're pumped up, Papa Smokes. It is time to watch this fight go down. Jacob Fatu taking on Real One. And we said from the get-go, looking at the time on the screen, this match, this whole card had already been going quite a while. There wasn't a lot of time left if you're going to keep things to that strict hour time frame. And sure as shit, that's what ends up happening. We had Jacob Fatu coming out from a large pop in front of the New York audience there that night. But once again, Real One going with that sucker punch attack. He comes out with a lead pipe, laying Fatu out before this match even starts. And then getting in the ring and having the nerve to go on a microphone, first of all, and say, son, unless you're SAFT soft, and yes, I said SAFT, Papa Smokes and I also mentioned that during the time, not SAWFT anymore, it's SAFT. If you're not SAFT soft, then you'll get your ass back in this ring and fight me like a man. Damn, just dropping the mic on that one, calling Fatu out, saying basically, get your ass in here so I can beat you in this ring.
Yeah, well, and he couldn't use his previous move because it's probably trademarked or whatever. So he changed the spelling of soft. But yeah, at any rate, he's really poking the bear at this point. And I was wondering, with the time remaining in this television show, if Fatu was going to be able to continue from the lead pipe shot. But we got a little bit of action there.
Yeah, and again, Fatu never going to give up. If he's given that opportunity, he's going to get back in there. You're not going to punk him out on a microphone or tell him that he's soft, because that's one thing Jacob Fatu is. He's the furthest thing from soft, and he's going to go in there and give it a hell of an opportunity. So he gets back into this one, Papa Smokes, and this didn't last very long. Again, immediately Enzo going on the attack quick in this one, really taking advantage of just the beaten down Jacob Fatu, looking to end this thing early. And then when he could not get the job done, we go right back to Nutshot City. So I mentioned earlier in the program with Microman and the Nutshot, Enzo nutshots Jacob Fatu, turns around, nutshots the referee. I mean, in the women's match, we had Scarlett going and doing some sort of camel toe nut shot on her opponent as well, too. This was a groinful episode of MLW Fusion here tonight.
Yeah, this had more groin shots than a Double J Jeff Jarrett disc set. Yeah, everybody going dirty with the groin shots in this, but it's, again, they're setting up feuds, so you got to have dastardly spots like that.
That's right. Again, everything being laid out for further opportunity between Real One and Jacob Fatu. Real One taking the easy way out, the DQ finish, but the chaos did not stop there. The attacks continue after the fact. And again, the big spot of the night, Jacob Fatu climbing to that top rope as the security were trying to pull Real One away, and that moonsault from the top rope on top of not only Real One, but all those security guys. Jacob Fatu laying out the playing field.
Yeah, so then ultimately this match was kind of a success, because I found it hard to believe that they would blow off this feud on free TV or at least on a non kind of pay-per-view type setting, just on an episode of Fusion, the first one of all things too. You knew this had to be a some kind of a fuck finish where it's going to set up the next program of matches. And they got something here with these two. I think they have a little bit of chemistry. We haven't seen them really hook up all that much yet physically, but this feud looks good on paper, and the promos that we've had leading up to this and this confrontation in the ring tonight, all of it just building the foundation towards what could be a violent and bloody feud between these two. And yeah, I say give me some more.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. Can't wait to see how things unfold. Pop Smokes, that is MLW Fusion for this week. We are going to hang out with you guys here for a little bit longer as our good friends Astrid and Cody get ready to bring you making an impact over at Astrid's Twitch channel there. So we're going to hang tight just a little bit longer so we can give them a raid. But in the meantime and in between time, we're going to give you a little bit of a rundown of what we thought overall, what we're excited about from the announcements that we got here. And if you have any questions, anybody who's listening in, you got questions for the video bros, things you want to talk about here while we've got a few more minutes, reach out right now. Let us know what you want to know. But Papa Smokes, overall, what would you say about the long wait between seasons and what we got delivered here tonight? Were they successful in their delivery of MLW's new season?
Yeah, I think so. Especially, I would kind of tie this episode together with last week's Battle Riot too, because lots of stuff bled over from the Battle Riot into what was done in their booking on this show. So I think so. In a way, it was more of the same the way the TV show is, but I already like the TV show, so that's fine. I don't really want it to be changed all that much. I think they, especially on the new channel, wanted to have an action-packed show with a whole bunch of wrestling in it. So I think it was smart to have 4 matches instead of, some of those Fusion episodes we've reviewed in the past have only had 2 matches in them, right? So yeah. I think the more wrestling, the better. And also just trying to get up the new feuds up and running. We got introduced to a few new people, and then we got introduced to a few new problems between some wrestlers. Including the middleweights, including Microman, including the featherweights, and then people at the top of the card, such as Real One and Jacob Fatu, Hammerstone and Holiday, and also Manser versus Mads Kruger. That will have some main event implications for some of these fusions coming up over the next few months, undoubtedly.
That was the very interesting thing about tonight. It was a lot of planning for the new season, a lot of things unfolding, which was great to see. Again, yeah, wrestling heavy. There was 4 matchups on the card, whether they all lasted very long or not. There was 4 out there. They got their segments in. And the best part about it, this was the one takeaway I got that I really enjoyed. All 4 singles championship belts were mentioned, involved. The champions had some sort of segment that sets up a match coming up on episodes of Fusion. So we got title matches lined right up, something to bring the interest in. So somebody might be tuning in for the very first time here tonight. You're leaving them with something. Hey, we got this belt match coming up next week. We got a belt match coming up the week after that. Stay tuned. We got some good shit on tap for you guys here this season.
Yeah, I think so too. So I would call it a success as a first episode. It kind of lets the viewer dip their toe in the water a little bit, see if they like it, see if it's warm enough. And I think for a lot of wrestling fans in North America, but around the world, wherever people can access this, it's a good show because it has very little of the silliness and the unrealistic booking that some other companies have. This is the little bit more sports-based presentation, a little bit more old school, and with some international flavor, with some Japanese Dragon's Gate guys, some AAA guys, and all kinds of Americans and Canadians on there too. So just the kind of flavor combination that you and I have always enjoyed, I think will resonate with lots of pro wrestling fans.
Yeah, they really put forward the idea of fusion very well here tonight. Again, we got a little bit of everything, not only the championships on display, we got those middleweight matches, we got a ladies match, we got a heavyweight main event match. I mean, Enzo kind of toes the line of that heavyweight comment, but fought to again, we're talking about two named people in a main event, something to build up to while putting on display all the different blends, getting to have a look in on La Estrella, who come over from Dragon Gate, somebody who's been over there, and reintroducing some of these people that others might know, some of the ones that came over from AAA, like Ares and Mini Abismo Negro, and some of the names there that they played with heavily on last season. And again, some names that I would really like to see more of this season as well, too, especially Ares and Mini Abismo Negro, too, that really impressed me.
Yeah, and Arez, to use as an example, has been one of those luchadors that has stayed the whole time. Not everybody has stayed, and I'm not sure how many of those guys they actually have signed to the company, but you remember there's been, was it Super Dragon or something like that they were pumping for an episode or two, and then we never really saw much of him after that. And then the next one was that Octagon Junior, and you and I both liked his matches as well. He maybe had 2 matches on TV. I thought he looked like he showed a lot of potential, and we never saw him again. So I think some of these guys are just coming in to do spots or weekends with the company or sets of tapings or whatever, and they try and get a buzz going for them for the next time they can bring him in.
Well, Octagon Junior, you'd hope is going to have something coming up for him as well, too, because not to mention the Caribbean champion. That's where we left off with him right there. So again, are we going to see him reintroduced with the upcoming tapings, with Fusion coming out here down the line? Will we see more with the Caribbean Championship, or is this going to be one of those belts where we've kind of seen the end of it with last season?
Yeah, I can't answer that, but I forgot that he did have one of the belts from loosely associated with MLW, at least the Caribbean Championship. So very interesting. I would expect that he will be back in then.
Yeah, there is a strong possibility. I mean, anything can happen. Another match that we're getting next week as well, too. I should mention this. I just forgot about it, but I think next week is also the match Cross versus Cross. If I'm not mistaken. Killer Cross taking on Matt Cross next week on MLW Fusion. This is an interesting pairing. Definitely a size differential between these two gentlemen, but experience-wise, Matt Cross, the one going in with the upper hand in that sense.
For sure, and this is a styles clash kind of match too. As skilled and as excellent as Matt Cross is, I can't really see him able to stand up to the fury of Killer Cross.
Yeah, it's gonna be wild to see how that pans out. What's gonna go down there, Pop Spokes? Anything can happen with MLW. We definitely know that. I'm kind of curious to see where we go from there. But we are just again stalling for time. So again, if anybody has any questions they want to ask us, we just want to make sure that you guys stick around so that you can find out all about Impact Wrestling. That is one great thing about some of our great friends out there. They're delivering all the different commentary on different companies that we might not always have the time to keep up with. But hey, you know what you can do if you can't watch the matches? You can put on a set of headphones while you're having a workout or whatever it is you're doing. Maybe you're sitting down having a Rogue energy drink and scanning that QR code in the corner there. Doesn't matter what you're doing. Again, if you don't have a chance to check everything out, sometimes it's great to just listen in to good people talking about the things they love and what they've seen. And sometimes you might hear some commentary within there that you're like, I need to go check that particular segment or that particular match out if I have an opportunity. And that's the great thing about making an impact. I don't always get to tune into it, but they do a great job over there. And hearing Asher and Cody talk about it, that excitement level gets pumped up, and I'm more interested in maybe spending some time watching the Impact pay-per-views, watching some of what they got going on, Pops folks, especially pumped about the aspect of them possibly doing a crossover with our friends here, MLW.
Yeah. And I listened to the last couple of episodes, and it's interesting, too. Even if you haven't watched the program, you can hear somebody else's analysis of it. Break it down, some experienced wrestling fans that know what they're seeing and can communicate what was going on the show, where they think it's going, where the direction is going. It's fun and it's interesting. And I'm glad that we have so many of the sort of bigger independent companies covered on Ole podcasts.
Yeah, it's a wonderful thing that we got going on here, and a lot of stuff that we got going on here. You can now check online for the recaps of different shows that have played during the week. Monday, we had episode 2 of Paramindful drop for you guys. If you're into things that are spooky, a little bit dark, horror, macabre, you can check out our good friends over at Paramindful. Episode 2 was breaking down the origins of Halloween. So Halloween season might be over, but that doesn't mean that you have to tune out. You could go check out all about the origins on Paramindful episode 2. And it looks like, looks like we're going to be going in about 3 minutes here over to raid the other channel here, Papa Smokes. So with that being said, check out all the great things from everybody here at our local establishment, and make sure that you're sticking around here to check out Making an Impact. Papa Smokes, let the good folks know now that we're at the end of the show, where can they reach out to you, good sir? Where can they send you the matches that they love and have a conversation with you in the meantime and in between time?
All right, we're the only social media that Papa Smokes is involved with is Elon Musk's $8 free speech funland. I can't call it the free Wonderland anymore, but it's the $8 one. Anyway, I'm at Smokes_Papa. And then on Twitch, I'm at Papa_Smokes_.
And again, we're getting some love there from Antiwuji. Thank you, as always, for spending your Thursday nights with us. We wouldn't want it any other way. Hopefully, we entertained you tonight, as always. And thank you for stopping in. We really do appreciate you. As always, you know that I'm on various shows here on our local establishment. If you really want to have some weird fun on Monday, I decided to have a little bit of a party time and do some gaming there, so you can check out some of my poor gaming while I'm having a few brewskis. It was a good old time, but as you check out the ticker below, you can also find me again here Thursday nights with Papa Smokes, Saturdays at Prairie Pro Wrestling, where we're calling all the matches there, Sundays busting out with my boy Chris Parrish there, the Brunch Busters. We're going to be doing that again this Sunday, so make sure you're all tuned in. And as always, just other various projects that we got going on here at our local establishment. And again, season 2 Beats and Beatdowns coming out with Carl. If you haven't already, make sure to tune in to what he's got going on over at Turnbuckle Studios. They got a lot of great things happening over there. So yes, tune into everybody's shows. And as I speak, I'm just going to go and double check that everything is good to go and what will be prepared to raid. Papa Smokes, any last parting words you got for the people joining us on stream here today?
No, not too many. Only my relief that our favorite current wrestling show is back on the air. MLW Fusion. We are back, baby, and we're going to do more podcasts. This is going to be the best year yet for MLW and the Video Bros.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun time. We're going to have some kick-ass interviews all geared up for you guys throughout the year, as well as a lot of great conversation when it comes to MLW. So make sure that you hang out with us. Check out what we got going on here at Fusion, and make sure to check out all of our friends as well, too. Just getting ready to hit that raid button as we speak. So that is going to be coming up. Stay tuned for the great show that we got going on over there on the other channel. But yeah, Papa Smokes, that is going to be it for us here tonight. Thanks for joining for another great Thursday. Really appreciate everybody. Take care out there, and we'll see you next Thursday night.